Good, my friend. Oh, roger that. In Alabama, man, yeah. I didn't catch your call number over there in Alabama on the Gulf Coast, but yeah, for some reason over here in the Phoenix area, we can always hear you loud over there in Alabama. That part of the country always just has a straight line.
Well, that's the Cobra 2000 GTL. We just put the DigiMax in here for a gentleman, one of our customers. And of course, you see that gives you the ability to go up through the frequencies wherever you want to go. As you can see on the counter there, we're on 67. This thing goes way too far though, farther than this radio can deal with. I'm going up here, look here, we're up into 10 meters, 28, 215. And although I did talk to some hams up here yesterday, the DX was really hot and heavy on 10 meters. The power was down so low, I only had like about 6 watts on sideband. I had to use a small amp to get to them, but yeah, it worked. But that's just broadbanded, not that broadbanded. It is usable to 27,800 and down. It could be used. It also tends to go down, as you'll see here, to the negative below channel 1. And I did find some people down here in this heavy DX conditions. Then you press this once and it goes back to home channel. And of course it has the function to scan. If you press this twice, it'll take off scanning until the squelch breaks. What I don't like about DigiMax is that's all you get on the scan. I like the kind of scan my Yaesu has, where it'll scan, stop, listen for 5 or 6 seconds, and then continue on scanning. This won't do that. If it stops scanning, well, I'll show you. I'll turn the squelch off, turn the squelch back on, and it will not go ahead and continue scanning. So it stops, and wherever it stops, that's where it stays until you, again, hit the button twice, and it'll take off scanning. The scan feature is produced. I have messed with this thing quite a bit. This is the first DigiMax system I put in, a 2000. It was fun from a technician standpoint. I guess my problem is that it doesn't do quite enough. There's things they need to get into the firmware or the software to allow it to give you the ability to say, okay, I just want to scan these frequencies, put 10 frequencies in and have them just scan that. And I would also like it to continue on scanning after maybe 8 or 10 seconds. That's enough time for you to decide whether you want to talk to whoever's on that channel or not, and have it continue scanning. The setup feature is real simple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 takes you into the PLL setup. Now on this one, we have the extra board that came with the DigiMax, so it has its own PL chip in there, which is a 106 chip. So that is where that would stay. You press it once, then it goes to 79, which for the chip that was being used, that's what you press on. This is the squelch limit. It has to be set to high. Now here's one feature that it will do. If I set this to low and go about my way, I don't want to really go to the next thing, but this is the lock detect. You saw the LD flash up there. If I go to on and press the button, it will scan the frequencies again and decide what frequencies the VCO can operate at, which is not deadly accurate. I think it scans so fast that it just takes on some of the frequencies that are just on the edge. That being said, I'm not going to do that, but we'll go back here, press it again, make sure, and then what we'll do is we'll turn the squelch off and the volume up. And now, if you hit scan, it will scan with the volume up and the squelch out. And as you can tell, when you get up into 29 megahertz, the receiver kind of drops down. So why it went up that high, that we need to be able to have the latitude to set that range. So now it's going backwards now, back down. And it'll do that all day long when the squelch is set to the low, which isn't very usable either because it scans so fast. Now if it stopped for a while, like I said, for 5 or 10 seconds, maybe even 10 seconds would be good. That would give you a chance to listen to it for a minute and decide whether you want to talk to whoever's on that. But you hit it twice, it goes back to 21. If you set the squelch, now I'm going to have to go back in and reset that to high, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we have to get that to where it works with the squelch. And then I'll show you this feature now. This is, again, the lock detect. We'll go ahead and turn it on now. And what it'll do is it'll start at the bottom and work its way up. Here's another thing, which I didn't realize. I didn't have the squelch up high enough. I could have took it off the antenna. That would have been better. Because all the lock detect is doing is looking at the VCO, looking at the pin, the lock detect pin, to see if it's ready, if it's possible for the radio to handle the frequency range, which I said that it goes a little bit outside that range. And that needs to be a programmable feature, that you don't have to do that. But anyway, if I go back in, I can't restart it. It goes back to here. So then you have to go back into it, go through the routine again, and then when you get here, you go to lock detect, turn it on, and start again. Now I got the squelch all the way up. Nobody should be able to break the squelch. So now you see it flashing. The lock detect, it's going through every channel, and you watch the counter over here. It should be, like I said before, in my mind, you should be able to stop that at some point. When it gets to the highest one, then you see that high. That claims to be its highest one. Then it goes down below 1, and then it picks the lowest, and that's it. And that becomes your scan range with no a way to stop it or program it. So anyway, besides all that, the system works perfect as it's designed. I had a few little quirks I had to work out, mostly the mechanical part of it, mounting the boards. And then the switches, these encoder switches, have too much play in them. It doesn't seem like they do until you mount them and get a longer shaft on them. But the selector here was too loose, so I made this little piece in the back, this plate. It's a plate just like this. And I drilled a hole in the center, or I milled it, actually, and kept milling it, a thousandth at a time, until it got to where the inside diameter of the switch plastic itself would have something like a bearing, so to speak, to keep it from being real loose. So it was really wobbly. This really strengthened it up a lot and gives you the ability to push the button without a problem, without it going back and forth. So with all that said, we can go back to 21. And everything does work as designed. I just wish I had a few extra little things in there. One, be able to determine the range of scanning you want. That would be great. It's nice to have a home channel programming ability. The scanning feature would be nice if it stopped for 10 seconds and then went on no matter what. Just those few little things would really make it a much nicer system. Other than that, it works great, and that's the end.